Hey guys, I'm back to show you a few different things when it comes to problematics that you might have with the seeds in the Instant Pot. Um, Currently, the seeds that I have in here are part of like a very long video that I'm doing will show how like a bunch of different seeds and how long they take to germinate in the Instant Pot, and which temperature setting down there or the pie plate. But tonight, all I want to show you guys is how to take care of mold, because obviously um, seeds will germinate, but there's also potential for a mold to show up. And today, one of my colleagues asked me how to deal with that, and I realized I hadn't showed you guys that. So I'm going to use some of my seeds from the experiment from the other video, but I'm not going to talk about what they are and all that, because I'm going to show you in the other video, which should come out tomorrow, after tomorrow. And so when you have mold, now it's not the same, maybe not the same mold that you've seen in like your fridge. It's going to be white, fuzzy. It's not detrimental necessarily to the seedlings. It also happens whether you start in an Instant Pot, in a Ziploc bag, or in soil. And it happens just because it's a perfect condition for mold to grow. Moisture, whether it's heat or room temp, mold just loves that. On seedlings, I've personally only, removed it. It's not a big deal. It's not on the seedlings when when you put them in the soil. It starts to form on the soil. As long as the seedling's out, it doesn't really hurt it. You just start watering it by the bottom at some point when the plant is completely out of the soil, and everything's good. It just dries up on top, goes away. But for the purpose of this video, I will show you specific seeds that are forming a type of mold. I'm gonna see if there's some in these ones. I think so, because they're the ones taking a while to grow. So anything that takes a while might form some mold. Okay, I see some. Wonder if the camera will be able to see it. Let's see. Okay. So can you see the white specks here, the lines here? We're not talking about the roots, of course, but sorry, everything's full of dirt. Okay. I'm not talking about the roots here. I'm talking about the white little lines in between, okay? So that's mold. Again, they're still germinating, that's not a problem, but at some point, because these type of seeds are taking forever to germinate, and by forever I mean 4 days, we're on day 4, so it's not really that long, but at some point the mold, if you let it go wild, it could overcome the entire thing. That's not fun. And it would be detrimental to it at that point. Right now it's not a huge deal, it's just a bit of mold. But and as you can see, it's completely different to what you see in your fridge, which is like green and like big little spot on, like, let's say cheese or something. This is just white lines, okay? So I'm just going to take care of that. The way you take care of that is with hydrogen peroxide. This is easily found and super cheap in pharmacies. I'm assuming that Walmart would be the cheapest where I've ever found it. This comes from Shoppers, and it was like $3 something, and there's a lot in it. But there's one thing about hydrogen peroxide. It over time, as it gets older, it does become water and oxygen, and so then there'd be no reagent anymore in it. This is 3%. That's what you find on the shelves, and that's actually too concentrated for plants. So you have to mix it with water, a 1-to-10 ratio. So 10 water and 1 hydrogen peroxide. And so I'm just going to show you guys how. So I'm going to make about 110 milliliters. So I'm going to put about 100 of water. Now you're seeing me not being super precise, and you're probably thinking, what kind of chemist was she before? there's a huge difference between something that may explode and something, or like a reagent that's like $200 that you might waste, versus a seedling that cost me 0.000 cent. You know what I mean? So I am using a measuring cup, but I'm being very, if I wanted to be super precise, I would use actual measuring spoons. But it's about a 1 to 10 ratio, and then you put it in a spray bottle, and now hopefully we're going to make a mess. There you go. So I'm just putting a bit in there. Now I'm choosing a dark bottle because I want to keep this stuff for a while. Hydrogen peroxide disintegrates into water and oxygen, especially with light, very quickly, which is why they sell these compared to the alcohol. They sell these in dark bottles, completely dark, and that's why. Okay, there's a big difference between alcohol and hydrogen peroxide. Okay, now it's in my bottle, and I'm just gonna spray it just lightly. There's no need to go crazy. It also adds some water, and can you see the bubbles? That's the hydrogen peroxide doing what it needs to do. Okay, seedlings and seeds are too tough to be ruined by a 1 to 10 ratio of hydrogen peroxide. Now, very pure hydrogen peroxide, such as what you get in the labs, like 30%, is very, very dangerous compared to something that you find on the shelf that's 3%, okay? To the point where the 3% you can literally put on your teeth to whiten it. So you can see it's not that dangerous. So I'm just spreading it around a bit just to make sure that all the mold is taken care of. The bubbles are going to go away, and the hydrogen peroxide here is going to become water and oxygen. So there's no more like chemicals after that are what you would call dangerous. I'm telling you, this is completely safe. Hydrogen peroxide is used by many gardeners. So that's all. Okay. And then you close it back up after, and you're good to go. Technically, you could spray your seedlings as well if you find any mold. Okay, so I just found a seedling for you guys that I had under there. I have a bunch of them. Most of them don't have mold by now because I water by the bottom, or I don't water as often once they're this big. But this one has a type of white mold that you often see on seedlings. So the same thing, you can simply spray. Honestly, I never do this because I've never had a huge problem with mold in terms of actual seedlings. So I never do it unless, I've had a few cases of very bad mold on seedlings. But mostly after they're out of the earth, you can just water them by the bottom. And as you can see, the root system is far enough that they can reach the bottom. So that's another way to use the hydrogen peroxide. Again, not the 3% pure, but 1 to 10. So I just want to repeat myself as to what a 1 to 10 ratio is. It's, for example, 100 milliliters of water with 10 milliliters of 3% hydrogen peroxide. Okay, that's just an example. Try to leave it in a dark bottle if you want to use it multiple times within like a month. And once you spray your seeds, don't be afraid to just close it back up. Put it back in. It will become water and oxygen. Oxygen will just go away. The water will stay in, just like the water that you already put on the paper towel. Another way to do this to prevent the mold from first happening is, instead of using water from the beginning on your paper towel, you can right away technically use this concentration. This will not affect your seedlings at that concentration. It's very, very little. Hydrogen peroxide is found everywhere in nature. And then you put it back in, and all is well. This is another video where I'm going to show that you can do these in little containers. And if you find some, same thing, you just look at it. I literally have none in this one, so I'm not going to do it. But if you have any mold in it, you just spray and then close it back up. Just make sure it goes everywhere on the mold. That's all. Mold is very weak compared to your seedlings, so it will die with the hydrogen peroxide, while the seeds won't die. And you might have to redo it depending on how long your seeds take. Now, after 4 days, from what I've seen, most seeds are out of their shell. So unless you're waiting for the entire seed with the leaves coming out, that might take longer. You may only need to spray once. As of yet, I've needed to spray once, sometimes twice if like a seed like this seed is taking forever, when the seed coating is very hard. So that's it for today. I just wanted to show you guys how to take care of mold in really any type of ziplock method, in the Instant Pot at room temperature, or also in the mold on your seedlings. If you want to take it off and it bothers you, you can also physically remove it if it's like a thick amount on it. It is important to take care of the mold on a potted seedling if it is not out of the soil, because it may form something hard that may keep the leaves from coming out. So you just spray a bit of this, or just physically remove it, and all will be well. So that's all for today. Thanks, guys.